The United States and Israel launching strikes in Iran on Saturday.
Donald Trump promised he would not drag America into another regime war in the Middle East. He lied.
And the president took the bold move of attacking Iran. It appears that the supreme leader has been killed, who was one of the leading terrorist funders in the world. And the world is a better place for it.
Mixed reaction on the major attack in Iran from Maryland lawmakers. We spoke with Congress members Steny Hoyer, Glenn Ivey, and Senators Angela Alsobrooks and Chris Van Hollen, who all say the president's action is unconstitutional.
Congress has the authority to declare war, not this president. He has not consulted Congress. He's acted unilaterally, and in doing so, he has once again jeopardized the lives of our men and women in military, our sons and daughters.
Iran has been a terrorist nation, a sponsor of terrorism, a funder of terrorism throughout the Middle East and perhaps other places as well. But the Constitution contemplated, and the founders contemplated, they did not want to have the chief executive of the United States going off making wars.
But the state's lone Republican, Congressman Andy Harris, says that's not the case here.
Well, they know full well the president does not need approval to do that. The president has 60 days. If after 60 days he has not obtained congressional approval, that's right, he has to start withdrawing forces. This is not going to last 60 days. Radical Islamic terrorism killed 5,000 people on September 11th. Are we going to have some casualties? We might have some casualties, but the casualties from a nuclear attack from Iran would have been much worse. We cannot let a terrorist rogue regime obtain a nuclear weapon.
And we have all the statements from all of the Maryland lawmakers that we spoke with today, but from what you just heard from there and more over on our website, WBALTV.com. Kyrie.
All right, thanks, Tori. And these attacks have sparked response from people all over the country. We saw a number of people outside of the War Memorial Plaza in downtown speaking out against the war. The organizers of this event tell us that one of the reasons they were out there was due to the attacks on civilian locations. Protests also broke out in places like Los Angeles, New Orleans, New York City, and Washington, D.C. Many protesters said that they do not want the U.S. to be dragged into another war, and they want resources to be used to address issues right here at home. Now, on the flip side, as reports trickled out about the death of the supreme leader, eyewitnesses in Tehran told the Associated Press that some residents were actually rejoicing and blowing whistles and celebrating. Now, this is video from Los Angeles that shows Iranian Americans hugging one another in the streets, rallying and dancing after that news broke. An Iranian-born attorney spoke to reporters at the rally. Here's part of his message to the people.
People that are on the outside need to understand that we've been the first victims of the Iranian regime's brutality for almost 50 years. So we know the brutality that we have to deal with the government that's in Iran that does not represent the people. We don't want a theocracy anymore. We want a separation of church and state. We want democracy, the end of terrorism, and we want the world to pay attention and be with us.
Now, some are also chanting, "Thank you, Bibi," referring to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's role in these attacks. And our Get the Facts data team has mapped the strike locations to show where the U.S. and Israel hit Iran and the retaliation against U.S. bases. You can see that and see the full reaction from Maryland lawmakers online and in the WBAL TV 11 News app.